Lost to the Braves. They lost to the Nationals.
Loved it both times.
The Nationals one was probably the craziest one of them all, just because no road game or no home game was won, which is kind of
First
crazy.
time in any of the major Big
Yeah.
Four that had ever happened where the away team won every single game.
Won every game. That was pretty crazy. But at that point, they had the pitching to match what the Astros were throwing out there with Scherzer and Strasburg.
And I forget. I think it was Anibal Sanchez. He did solid.
Yeah.
There's
So
somebody I can't remember who the other guy was.
if you don't have that, and they're going to bring back these guys again, they're going to be tough to beat. So congrats to the Astros.
Begrudgingly for me,
as much as a lot of people may hate the idea of the Astros winning. We are back. We're live on Facebook again.
Yay.
Hello. Hello to everyone on Facebook watching. Thank you. The great Tiffany, our boss here, got us back and running. Okay. Huge week in college football that we have to get to. The last half hour of the show, we'll make our picks for all the Sunday games. But what an unbelievable week of college football that we had. Half of my heart was torn. Half of my heart was very, very happy with what happened. And, my heart's not really too torn because I still think there could be a scenario where both of my teams from places that I've lived still get in the college football playoff. But anyway, let's start with our teams in the state of Texas. TCU here at home. By the way, I don't know what. Oh, it was homecoming. Had to have been because
it was against Texas Tech.
Yeah, because tickets to that game were like $430 to sit way up in the sky.
Well,
so
I saw something about they quit selling certain things, so Tech fans can't, because they've got a big community here in the DFW for Texas Tech. They buy a lot of tickets apparently.
Either way,
they're trying to limit the Texas Tech fans from overrunning the place.
Either way, tickets were out of the world to go watch that football game for some odd reason. And in 3 weeks, when they come back for their last home game, they're like $30 to see them play Iowa State. So,
well, it's Iowa State,
sure, but Texas Tech is garbage either way. So, but I get it. Homecoming,
they unfortunately beat Texas.
Homecoming and all that stuff. I understand why the ticket prices would be the way that they are. Big win for TCU. They remain undefeated, and their only shot to get into the playoff at this point would be to go undefeated and then, of course, win the Big 12 title game
you definitely
here in Arlington.
CFP selection committee has biases against them. Put them behind Alabama.
They're going to – I'm assuming TCU is going to be 5 by the time the rankings come out, I believe, later today by the AP poll. Tuesday we'll find out.
They better not put Tennessee 4th. They better be behind TCU. I mean, no offense to you, but undefeated should trump them at this moment with the inside path.
Yeah. The thing with the committee is that they're the AP and the committee, they're big on strength of schedule. And Tennessee has beaten 6 ranked opponents this year, which is the most in college football.
But you also got to think SEC does generally have a bias as well
sure,
towards their rankings. So you also got to – I look at that too.
I just can't imagine. Look, Georgia jumped out to that lead. They were 24-0 at halftime, and then they scored 3 points the entire second half. I didn't think it was a massive kick in the butt like people thought it was. But to have them number 1 and then to drop them to, I don't think they'll go as low as 4. I think they'll be at 4 on Tuesday. I think they'll be at 4 in the AP poll. Alabama is gone for sure.
So thankful for that. So thankful they're finally. I never thought they were that good. They almost lost to A&M. A&M is 3-6 now.
Yeah, they've had some weird things.
Barely squeaked by Texas.
Yeah,
they got lucky against Texas.
Where Alabama has been almost impeccable over the last 10 years under Nick Saban has been. You almost are assured for them not to lose a game on the road. They've been phenomenal on the road, and the last 2 years, they've looked like a very average football team on the road. And I don't know if that's, a lot of coaches will tell you road games, they're won in the trenches. Their offensive line hasn't been great. Their defensive line hasn't been great. And so over the last 2 seasons, they've not looked great on the road. They lost last year to A&M. In a game that they shouldn't have lost. They've lost 2 road games this season at Tennessee, at LSU, against teams that, of course, they've dominated over
They
the
almost
years.
lost the third one.
They should have lost to Texas if Quinn Ewers doesn't go down. And that was just a 1-point game at the end of it all anyway.
Ewers was marching up and down the field at will.
Yeah, so something, I don't know. I mean, people all of a sudden are tweeting today that the Saban and Alabama dynasty's done. And I'm like, look, unless Saban stops being the head coach and falls over, they're going to continue doing what they do. But they've had a weird run the last 2 years.
As much as I would like to say they're over, I don't think they're over.
No.
But something that's probably is impacting them, NIL.
Yeah, a lot of players. Yeah, and I think what may impact them a little more is once Oklahoma and Texas officially join the SEC, you'll have a lot of
the
recruits,
Texas guys that wanted to go to play in the SEC that only had A&M.
Right, they
would go to other ones, but they didn't want to go to A&M.
Yeah, if I live in Austin, I can stay home, and my grandma can come to all my games, and my mom and dad can come to all my games.
And you'll be in what's considered the best conference.
Right, and I'll still get all the TV time, and I'll still get all the, so.
I mean, you've also got Arch Manning coming to Texas.
Right, you have Archie Manning. Alabama just recruited one of the 5-star quarterbacks. I mean, it's like they're going through a weird thing right now.
And Texas isn't quite back, but they're getting closer, I should say. I didn't say they're back. They're getting closer.
They're getting closer.
They just need to get those wins they've had a few close losses.
Yeah, I think once Sark evaluates the whole year and everything that happened, I think they'll figure out some kinks that need to be worked out, and you'll have a better recruiting class come in, and you'll be fine going forward.
And, when he gets all his players there, too, the players he wants there.
Right.
Because he's still working with his predecessor, some
Sure.
of his players.
Yeah, I mean,
some of his players' predecessor had really great players. I
Yeah.
think Bijan Robinson was one of his predecessors.
Yeah, he's the best back in the country. It's not even close.
He's going to be, if he declares for the draft, he's probably a top 10 pick. Definitely probably be the first running back taken no matter what.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, against the ranked Kansas State yesterday, he had over 200 yards.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
If
you ever wanted to build a player with on Madden with all the hit sticks and juke moves and all the buttons you could ever press, it's Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them.
He's that type of guy. So, congrats to both of our Texas teams that won, at least the 2 that matter. We don't care about A&M.
The 2 we care about.
And they'll be matching up next week. College Game Day is actually headed down to Austin for that game.
One quick deal I saw this morning. There was a game yesterday that happened in Dallas, SMU. Did you see that one?
Did not.
77-63 in regulation.
Both defensive coordinators fired today, hopefully.
I figured I should bring that up. 2 Texas teams, and they went 77-63. SMU beat Houston.
Fire them both.
One guy threw 7 touchdowns. The other guy threw 9.
Reminds me of that Mahomes and Baker Mayfield game a few years ago, where they just went back and forth for 2,000 yards combined.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I figured I should probably bring in those 2 Texas teams that
for
some reason went off.
Biggest game of the week for Fox next week's going to be in Austin. Undefeated TCU, probably ranked 5th or 6th, will be at Texas. And
Texas might be top 20 by that point after this week.
Yeah, they were at 24. They'll probably jump them up.
Well, Texas was the only 3-loss team in the top 25.
Yeah. So, big game next Saturday, obviously for both teams going forward. TCU, their only shot to make the playoff has to be to win out, and has to be to of course win out and win the Big 12 title.
Well, TCU to win out still has to go through Texas and Baylor. The only 2 really until the title game. The only 2 really.
Yeah, no, they got to win out. They got to win out everything. They can't lose a game, even through the Big 12 championship, because the committee's not going to give them a spot if they lose a game, even if they win the Big 12 championship. So, Georgia, I believe, is a lock because they haven't lost, even if they lose to LSU.
I don't know who else they're playing that would give them a tough time.
Yeah, I don't know. I can find out here in 2 seconds.
Are they going to play LSU this year?
So they're at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, and then home against Georgia Tech. Those are going to be
Kentucky, maybe because they started out the season well, that they could be a trap game.
Yeah,
That
I
probably
think
be about it.
I think Georgia cruises to the SEC
No, I think
title.
they'll go to the SEC championship game for sure. I just think that until LSU, if they went out too.
Yeah, they're going to cruise to an SEC title. LSU should cruise. I mean, they're already in there pretty much essentially because they got the tiebreaker over Alabama. Something crazy would have to happen in the last 3 games for that to change. But yeah, I think Georgia cruises. I think Georgia's a lock, even if they lose to LSU in the title game. I think at this point right now, when they come out with the rankings on Tuesday, I still think Tennessee's a lock. The resume has been way too good. And to drop from 1 to completely out of the playoffs seems like a bit of a stretch.
But it has happened.
Sure. I just don't think you can't replace them with anybody else. I don't like Oregon there. Alabama's obviously done. Clemson is done. So you got a weird mix unless you want to put both Big Ten teams in until you get a champion. You get Michigan and Ohio
That's
State.
what's going to happen, and then TCU. That's why I said I was talking before we hopped on. Tennessee's probably going to be 5 because you're going to get
I just
2
don't know
Big
if
Ten
they're.
teams.
I just don't know if they're ready
Georgia
to
and
put TCU up there.
I just think they have a bias because I was saw something where the CFP president was talking about TCU, like why they put them behind Alabama. Like, oh, it's because they've gotten behind in games, and then we'll go start talking about Ohio State. And he basically said the same thing, praising them for comebacks.
Yeah.
So I think they should put TCU 4, just because by virtue of them being undefeated. I don't think it'll happen because
I think
bias is against them.
I think both teams will be in the playoff. I think you're going to get 2 SEC teams, TCU and the Big Ten champion.
I'll just be honest. I'm kind of frustrated with so many SEC teams always continually making it. If any other league, one team if there's 2 teams, one's undefeated, one's got 1 loss to the undefeated team, they won't put the extra undefeated team. I mean, the 1 loss team in, but they will put SEC teams in. It's going to be that way until you get the 12-team playoff. Whenever they decide to implement it,
I think 6 has always been the way to go.
From what I've seen, it's looking like it's 12.
Yeah, 12 just seems like a stretch to me. I don't need, like, if I'm Alabama here and I've got the best quarterback in the country, I don't need Bryce Young playing Mississippi State in the first round and breaking his leg for some meaningless game when I got 3 rounds left to get to the championship game. That's my only thing, and I think this was my issue with the NFL expanding to so many teams, and the NBA also doing their stupid play-in thing. Like, what are we rewarding at this point? Like,
yeah, I'm not
like
the play-in stuff. I'm not a big fan.
The play-in stuff in the NBA is horrible.
I understood it for like the COVID shortened season because they didn't get the full season, so you didn't
so you didn't really know what teams looked like.
That they could have potentially made a run. I was fine with that. Maybe the year after, just get everything back, but I don't know going forward if the play-in is really the right answer.
It doesn't make a lot of sense
because like the 7 and 8 seeds, the top 7 teams in one conference could be like by far the best 7 teams. But because they're 7th, they have to go to the play-in, and they could lose a 1-game play-in.
Right, and then you got a weird situation there. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what happened on baseball when they went to the wild card game.
So, yeah, a lot of weird stuff. I'm not a big fan of expanding this thing way too much, but I think 6 is perfect. You get the first 2 teams around or first round bye.
I prefer 8.
We'll see. Anyway, all right, when we come back, we got to get some NFL stuff. We'll pick all of our games for today. And don't go anywhere. Right back.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Alrighty, welcome back to Inside of the Game. Glad that you're here. Hopefully your grill is on fire, going at 100%. The stove is running. We're not doing microwave stuff. We don't do microwave stuff on Sunday game day, okay? Grill is going. Your stove is running. You got 8 different people at your house from a bunch of different fan bases. You got 7 TVs spread across your house, and you're ready for Sunday football. Big week of games actually for a few teams that are going to have to start get things rolling here. Of course, the Cowboys are on their bye week, and if I'm not mistaken, did we figure out, are they at Green Bay next week?
Oh, I never looked that up. It's either Green Bay or Minnesota next week.
I tried to find it. Give me one second. I'll have it right here. They are at Green Bay next week.
We had the same bye week as the Giants. Did
So
not realize that.
at Green Bay and at Minnesota, back-to-back weeks.
We got the 2 easy teams from that division at home. Then we got the 2 hard teams away.
Yeah, the 2 hard teams on the road. Yeah. So,
although the Bears did give us a brief scare thanks to the ref, well, with the help of the refs, I should say, last week.
Yeah. So Cowboys on their bye week. Not much to say there. Big week of Sunday games though. And if I'm looking at what's going on this week, oh boy, a lot of stuff could change, not only for like future playoff pictures, but I think there's a lot of things on the line. And let's just, do we want to make our picks at the very end? So let's make our picks.
Yeah, let's make our picks.
Let's make our picks at the very end. In your eyes, as we literally look at the man on the TV, would you say that is your front runner for MVP at the moment?
From what I've seen, probably yes. I don't know anybody else other than maybe Micah Parsons, but you only had like 1 or 2 defensive players ever to win MVP, just because what Parsons has been able to bring to the table.
It's a quarterback award, essentially.
It just doesn't need to be. It needs to be the most valuable player. And
sure.
If you're looking most valuable player, Michael Parsons needs to at least be considered for what he's been able to do for the Cowboys.
Yeah. I would depend to see what happens over the next 3 weeks. But I wouldn't go as too far and say, obviously, if they lose today, that's going to not help his chances. I think Kirk Cousins has a good argument
I forgot
here.
about him.
If they go 7-1, you could begin to look at the rankings, for MVP over the next couple of weeks. You could have an interesting scenario where we're talking about Kirk Cousins for MVP. Boy, that would be very, very interesting.
And the only other person that you might consider, because every game he started and finished, his team has won. And the games he missed or he went out early, they've lost, is Tua.
Yeah, Tua could make a run for it.
If he continues and they continue doing that, where they win every game he starts and finishes.
I don't know how the voters would deal with the 3 games that he's missed.
Well, I would say that wasn't his fault. They probably wouldn't hurt him too much because when you look at it should be most valuable player.
Yeah.
And if every game that he started and finished they've won, and they've lost all the other games, then you could actually have.
Yeah, you can make a really good.
You can make an argument for it.
Really good argument. There's 5 teams on their bye week this week: Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, the Giants, Pittsburgh, and the Niners. So not as many games as you would
Did you
usually
get
have
Denver?
on a Sunday.
There's 6. Did you say Denver?
Oh, sorry, Denver. Yes, that'd make
Sorry,
it 6.
I'm just looking right here.
So big time week for some teams that have to get some traction rolling. There was some trades all over the NFL as well that we missed
One of the busiest
last
ones
week.
in
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
in
the
history.
most trades in a deadline in history. I think the biggest one and the most impactful one, obviously, is Christian McCaffrey going to the Niners. They're my pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
And they have been since week 1, and I'm not changing my mind. And I think it's going to be even better for them to get there.
I might be a homer, but I'm going Cowboys.
I totally understand that.
But realistically, Vikings or Eagles, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just don't trust either one of those quarterbacks.
I don't trust the Eagles. I don't think Eagles, good team. And this comes from, I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't like the Eagles at all. Good team. They are a good team. I just don't know if they're 8-0 record or are they 9-0 now. Whatever. 8-0, 9-0, whatever.
8-0.
I don't think the record is they're as good as the record says. They're still a good team, but when you look at their best wins, they only have 2 wins against good teams, and one of them was against the Cowboys against our backup, and they only won by 9, and the Cowboys gave them a scare in the second half, and they almost came all the way back. So I'm not sure their 8-0 record really is indicative of who they are.
They're if I'm looking here for the for that week 9 game, the schedule for the Eagles is insanely easy to finish out the season.
You just have basically the Giants and Cowboys, and that's really all you have left.
The quarterbacks they're playing are Taylor Heineke, Sam Ellinger, Aaron Rodgers, but they're 3-5.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones twice, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, and then whoever the heck the Saints have playing quarterback nowadays. It's like 3 different guys.
Winston or
Walton,
most likely.
So, I mean, their quarterbacks that they're playing against are easily the easiest remaining schedule left.
At least with Tannehill, you also have to consider Henry.
Sure.
With that. So you got
no. I mean,
so you have to
I think my
take
Titans
that into account as well.
could make that very interesting. But you just look at the quarterback matchups, and they're pretty much, I mean, there's not a quarterback on that list, maybe outside of Dak, that's anywhere near his level. So,
well, Aaron Rodgers definitely has level, but the team around
the team is really bad.
Yeah, it's not.
So the Eagles could have a very interesting. I don't think they'll go 17-0.
No, highly unlikely. I mean, they're playing Dallas in Dallas, and that shouldn't bode well for them. Hopefully, I'm knocking on wood here.
Yeah. So, big games this week include. I think that Buffalo and Jets game is going to be a big one.
Man, you got to talk about the Jets for being better than everyone expected.
Yeah, going to 5-3. If they're able to get a win here and go 6-3 and drop Buffalo to 6-2, you get them on the tiebreaker. You just have that half game to play around with for the rest of the season. The Jets still have to make a trip up there towards the end of the year. So could make it very interesting. Obviously, just having Josh Allen is, I mean, the dude's just a freak of nature.
Yeah.
And I think he has to be front runner for MVP pretty easily. And they even made trades. I mean, they got Naheem Hines from the Colts for essentially nothing. So that Buffalo team is poised to win. I think they're sick of losing to Kansas City. So in the playoffs.
How about didn't they? No, they beat them this year. I was trying to remember who won.
They beat them. They beat them both.
Bills beat the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, they beat them both times in the regular season. They've lost both times in the playoffs.
And unfortunately, that's all that matters.
So they can win as many games as they want, but in the regular season, it's all in the postseason that it matters. And I think Buffalo's got something going on here. I think they're the most complete team in football, and from top to bottom, and I even say top to bottom from owner all the way down to the last player on the roster.
Yeah. Bills
So
are definitely. It's going to be Bills or Chiefs most likely from the AFC.
yeah, my pick for the Super Bowl is still very much in play. I said it from the beginning of the season, Niners and Buffalo. And it's looking like I'm okay that way.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the Niners because I don't care for the Niners too much.
I just think, look, Jimmy G can get me to the Super Bowl. I trust Kyle Shanahan. And now I have a receiver that can line up as running back, and I have a running back that can also line up as receiver, plus this one of the two best tight ends, maybe the best O-line, phenomenal defense.
Y'all did get torched by KC though. I mean,
Sure,
they got
we did.
destroyed by KC.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. My pick is still there. Another big game that I think is huge for both teams is Colts and Patriots. Patriots trying to figure out who they're playing at quarterback first of all to begin with. Between it's Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi and the fan base yelling for one guy and the whole other fan base yelling for another guy, and
that's kind of what was happening with the Cowboys when Cooper Rush is winning all those games.
Yeah,
a lot of people were like Cooper Rush can win. He's gonna win it.
The darlings of the NFL for some weird reason, the Indianapolis Colts, who I'm sure are probably still favored to win the Super Bowl, because for some reason the NFL just has this weird obsession for Indianapolis. Sitting at 3-4-1, they essentially can't lose today because the division is going to be way too far out of reach. I think at that point, that tie is really screwing them over. And not to mention they benched Matt Ryan, which I thought Matt Ryan was the savior for that franchise. And I guess they realized that he sucks.
They thought that about Carson Wentz last year.
They thought that about every quarterback that they've gotten over the last 4 years.
Since Luck.
Yeah. And the NFL, for some reason, has bought every single one of it. So big game for the Patriots to jump back to over 500. And if I had to pick another big game, well, I mean, you would think that Rams Buccaneers is a big game because both of them are 3-4 and 3-5.
They both need to win, but
the last two Super Bowl champs not looking so great over the first 8 weeks of the season. A lot of weird stuff there. Tom Brady getting divorced. I have to figure that eventually that's gonna, he's gonna be fine. Like that's just gonna play out of his head over the next 4 weeks.
I'm just happy right now he's losing. I think a lot of people are.
My biggest surprise of the season is Seattle. Man, has Geno Smith been good.
Yeah, what happened?
73% completion percentage. That leads the NFL.
I mean, what happened? I mean, no one thought. I figured when they traded Russell Wilson for Drew Lock and a bunch of stuff, I mean, okay, Drew Lock's probably going to go in there and be the starter. Geno Smith won. Is like weird, but okay. And then Geno Smith's been playing like he has. Like
5-3, and they should be 6-2. If they go to 6-3, I mean, boy, who would have thought if you had the Niners, the Rams, the Cardinals in that division, that Seattle would be 6-3 out of all of them?
Well, who thought of anything about the NFC East this year? They're the only, not one team in the NFC East at this moment in time is under 500.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
No one expects them to be that good. No one
but
expects
to see
Giants either, but
to see Seattle have the success that they are having under Pete Carroll, and everybody thought he should go, and with the hands of Lockett and just Metcalf helping out. I mean,
don't forget Walker there.
They maybe have the best draft class this season, and it's probably not even close.
I'm showing my homerism. Cowboys have only lost like one guy from their draft class. They have a bunch of undrafted
I'm talking about this past year.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
This draft.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just think they've got
the first round pick for the Cowboys, unexpectedly solid to good for a rookie at left tackle.
Tyler Smith.
They've got Sam Williams, who started to break out.
Yeah.
DeRon Bland is looking like he went to starter after Lewis went down. He was like a 5th round pick. Or 4th round pick, something like that. They've got 2 undrafted tight ends that are performing and playing well. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying the Seahawks isn't better. I'm just saying the Cowboys shouldn't be taken out for what they have done.
Yeah, I just think Seattle's players have made way more of an impact. You've got the defensive rookie of the year of the month, their corner. I believe Woolley is his name, or Woolden is his name. Their running back is a rookie who won Rookie Offensive Player of the Month last month. They've got two guys playing both of their tackles. Both are rookies. They've done an amazing job. And all those guys are third, fourth, fifth round guys. The only first round pick there was, I lost his name. But Seattle's done a phenomenal job in trying to figure this thing out. And Geno Smith has been, I mean, all but almost perfect. I mean, the dude, for what you've asked Geno Smith to do, he has been pretty darn good for this for this Seattle team. So, all right, we got about 10 minutes left, 12 minutes. Let's take our time here and let's make our picks. Let's start the Sunday off. Bills at the Jets. Buffalo's a 13-point favorite on the road, which is essentially 16-point favorite.
Wow.
On the road. Yeah.
I was going to say Bills. I don't know if they should be that high because the Jets are although Zach Wilson
threw 4 interceptions last week.
He's 3 TDs, 5 picks for the whole season. So
yeah, not great.
Forgot about that.
So Bills and Jets, who do you got?
Bills.
Do they cover? 13 points?
I'd say it's a push.
Okay. All righty. Yeah, I think I got Buffalo too. They're just too. I just think they're too much. Too much.
Too much. I mean,
quick note on the Jets though.
They've got a great
Sauce Gardner. Hasn't allowed more than 3 receptions in 5 straight games.
Yeah.
When he's the nearest defender, that is pretty unbelievable.
Is that from Pro Football Focus?
That is from NFL Next Gen Stats.
Okay, I'm about to say because PFF, I don't really trust them.
Yeah, no.
Some things I trust them for certain things. A lot of stuff I'm like.
All right, Packers at the Lions. Packers are 3.5-point favorites on the road.
This one I'm gonna probably I'm gonna go Lions.
Okay.
Because I feel that they play hard for Dan Campbell, and they've got to be one of these days they'll get the win.
They have to, right?
They've played too many close games.
That's got to be so infuriating. The last 2 years to see all their 1-score games that they've lost.
It will eventually even out. So I mean, Green Bay has been a thorn in the Detroit side forever.
Yeah,
I think in Detroit, I mean, probably bucking conventional what people would think, but I'm going to lean Detroit.
I'm going to take the Packers here. Aaron Rodgers loves playing in that stadium. He's 18-6 in his career against the Lions. I'm going to take the Packers.
Of course, I'm just going
probably
to
win probably win a close one on the road. All right, Colts at the Patriots.
Patriots because they're home.
Patriots are 5.5-point favorites at home.
Did not know they were that much.
I think they have the better quarterback. I just think they have the better football team in general. No Jonathan Taylor today for the Colts, by the way. So
that's about as that's probably why it's 5.5. Now.
That's about as big as it gets right there. Dolphins at the Bears.
Dolphins.
I like the Dolphins here as well. They're 5-point favorites on the road.
Fields has been playing better of late, but still the Dolphins are a much more talented team.
Yeah. I think Fields has been fine. I don't know if he's the future, but I think he's been fine for them.
Well, he's showing promise, which Chicago hasn't had a lot of at quarterback.
They got to start winning some football games. Yeah, and they're coming up against a quarterback who's undefeated when he starts. So
and finishes. Don't forget starts and finishes.
Starts and finishes. So I'm gonna take Miami as well. Probably in another close one. All right. This is apparently your trap game of the week. Vikings at the Commanders. Minnesota's 3.5-point favorite on the road.
I'll still lean Vikings, but I feel it's more of a trap game for them than they would probably want to admit. Because, like I said, Commanders, I still hate that name.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it's like the Guardians should be the Spiders in baseball. But Heineke's played well. They've won 3 in a row. So I'm still going to lean Vikings because I don't like the NFC East teams other than the Cowboys. That's me personally.
I think if you're a Cowboys fan, you need the Commanders to win.
Well, that would help for strength schedule and all that stuff.
for seeding wise, because you're gonna have to play Minnesota here in a couple of weeks. And if you can go in and get a tiebreaker and you're both 8-2 and the tiebreaker goes your way, that's the difference between maybe a first round bye or a second seed and a third or fourth.
It doesn't matter. We have to pass the Eagles first.
Sure, but I'm saying
So
like,
it wouldn't matter no matter what.
well, but I'm saying like you'd get a weaker opponent if you're the
Well-
number 2 seed than you would.
Well, yeah, but you have to get past the Eagles. Just get to the number 2 seed. Because if you don't get past the Eagles, you're a 4 seed. It doesn't matter. If we don't
But the
get
Eagles
past-
are going to be the 1 seed. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, but the Cowboys should still be considered a wild card.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The division
yeah.
winners get 4 seed.
Yeah.
No, 5 seed. Sorry, 5. You'd be the 5 seed.
You'd be the 5 seed.
So we have to get past the Eagles to even have a chance at the 2 seed. So looking like the Vikings are going to win that division, it doesn't matter if we have a better record than them. If we
Yeah.
don't have a better record than the Eagles.
I'll take the Vikings here. I think Kirk Cousins has been playing phenomenal. I think that defense has finally turned around and done great things. So
So I still think the Vikings are going to win, but they need to be careful because the Commanders have been playing well
Yeah.
recently.
I don't think the Commanders have anybody that can stop Justin Jefferson. Pretty boring of a game. Panthers at the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals.
As long as is Chase back?
Chase is not back.
Oh,
It's in Cincinnati.
Bengals, but barely.
It's at Cincinnati. I'll take Joe Burrow here, big time. Panthers are fun. They're exciting, but they are not great. So I'll take.
Is it Walker or
It's PJ Walker. Yeah,
Walker? He played
Yep.
well last week.
he did
Just
play last week very well.
Should have gotten the win, but DJ Moore messed that up.
This game feels like a really boring 13-10 or like 12-9 random bunch of field goals type of game. I'll take Cincinnati to win that game. Chargers at the Falcons. Chargers are 3.5 favorites on the road.
Do you really want to go against the division leading team in the Falcons?
The division leading team. They may win that division
They're
too,
what?
which is crazy.
Yeah, they're 4-4.
4-4.
And they're leading the division.
Happy for Marcus Mariota. Anyway,
But the Chargers are more explosive on offense than the Falcons are. Even though the Falcons scored a bunch of points last week.
I'll take the Falcons at home. I think they go to 5-4. I think they take a little stranglehold on the division here. All right, talk about a bad football game. Raiders at the Jaguars, 2-5 and 2-6. Las Vegas is a 1.5 point favorite on the road. By the way, so Vegas got shut out last week by the Saints. They didn't score a single point. Matter of fact, fun stat, they didn't even move the ball past midfield all game. They didn't even fly back to Las Vegas. They decided to stay on the East Coast, and they had some weird team building exercises. I don't know what in the world's going on, but they decided to stay in Florida for their Jaguars game, and they will fly back home after today. But they didn't even want to go home. That's how mad they were about losing. So
as long as Adams gets involved, it's going to be the Raiders.
No Darren Waller today, by the way.
That's why I say if Adams gets involved.
Yeah.
And Renfro, if you get both of them involved, it'll be Raiders. If you don't get them,
I don't care. It's going to be such a boring game.
You're going to get Etienne going off.
Yep. Best game of the week, in my opinion. Seahawks at the Cardinals. Geno Smith has been dealing.
I'll probably go Seahawks, but the Cardinals are probably in desperation mode right now.
That's a good point.
So
Cardinals are 2-point favorites at home.
they're favored?
They're favored at home by 2. Yeah.
Why is
I don't
everybody
know.
going against the Seahawks right now?
I don't know.
I'll just say I'm going Seahawks. Just know that the Cardinals are desperate, so they might trying harder and playing better. Although Call of Duty is out, so Kyler Murray
Kyler Murray could be
it could be who knows where.
definitely not watching film, that's for sure. Seattle's covered 3 straight games of its last 4. So if you're betting on anybody here, I like Seattle overall in that game for sure. Rams at the Bucks. Our last 2 Super Bowl champs really reeling this year
Yeah.
for odd reasons, by the way.
Stafford hasn't looked like himself recently. And against the Cowboys, the only real play he had,
Was the
big
Cooper
explosive-
Cup play.
but
Yeah.
that's because he made a good pass, and Cooper Kupp did everything else on that one.
Yeah. This will be if Brady were to lose to the Rams, by the way.
That would probably mean
the
the end of the Bucks
fourth
this year.
the fourth straight game that he would have lost to the Rams in his career. Something that only one other team has done that to him, and that is Buffalo. So some random stats here.
How did Buffalo do that to him? When
It
did
was-
Buffalo do that to him?
Yeah, that had to have been over the span of 2 seasons. I don't know. Could have been it was probably really early at some point.
Yeah. Well,
so yeah.
Brady's also coming. First time he's ever lost 3 straight games.
Yep.
So
If Matthew Stafford were to win today, he will become the 5th quarterback. Only 5 quarterbacks have beaten Brady in 3 straight games. He will become the 5th.
So who would be the other 4? Which Manning?
I don't know which. It doesn't tell me the other 5. The other 4
Oh.
quarterbacks.
Would be
anyway.
nice to have known.
Both teams are at the bottom of the NFL in rushing.
Literally,
so this could be a
31 and 32.
really, yeah, this could
Like
be
the
a
Bucks are like 64 yards a game. The Rams are like 61 yards a game.
yeah, this could be really, really bad and a really boring game. I like Tampa at home. I think Brady's got to figure something out, right? You got to get some of that divorced energy just on the football field and just anger, you know?
Yeah, but also the Bucks defense hasn't been playing well of late.
Yeah, they have
I was
not.
watching.
That's
I watched
true.
a little bit of the Ravens game, and they're talking about I forget the Devin White, the linebacker.
Yeah.
He has been horrendous.
He's been really bad. For a guy that never missed his gap to fill, he's missed a lot of gaps.
And he's been just
Yeah.
So
I think they figure it out. I think Brady gets him.
Cam Akers is also back for the Rams, so that probably help them out some.
Yeah, I think they're mad about last year's divisional game, and I think Tampa wins this thing. All right, Sunday Night Football. Titans at the Chiefs. They're both sitting at 5-2. Kansas City is almost a 13-point favorite at home.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win, but I don't know if they're going to be. They might not cover because Titans like to ground and pound.
We do like to ground and pound. There potentially is going to be no Tannehill. We're trying to figure that out currently. The Titans are not going to tip their hand until essentially game time.
And no Tannehill means even more running.
More Derrick Henry, yeah, which if they don't get that going early, it's going to be a disaster for my wonderful Titans.
So if you see Willis in there, you're probably going to face 8-9-man boxes all the time.
Yeah, the whole game. Titans defense has been the best defense over the last 5 weeks in practically every number. But if you can't score any points and you give Mahomes 4 or 5 extra possessions, it's going to be a disaster. I'd love to take my Titans here. If I was a betting man, I'd probably go Kansas City. But we'll see.
Oh, by the way, tomorrow night, Monday night, Ravens.
Agreed. Ravens
over
as well.
Saints.
Ravens as well. All righty, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We will catch you next week. Enjoy all the wonderful food you're about to have and enjoy all the football that you're about to watch. We'll see you guys next week.
Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog.
I'm Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog. You know, when I get the hankering for a hot dog, I go to Cleveland, Texas. Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley